follow the plays. We have to take our walks. When we're doing that, we're really good. And I think we're in a good place offensively. We did it in Tampa. That was the beginning. Toronto was really good. And at home, obviously, we finished the job, and it was a good weekend.
So this is where you are, Red Sox fans, as the postseason begins tonight against the Yankees in New York. Game 1 of the AL wildcard series. And again, I said just a couple of minutes ago at the end of Felger and Mazz, we only have a few minutes before the game starts tonight. So if you want to get in, now's a good time to do it. 617-779-0985. And this is an unusual circumstance. Let me get this out of the way quickly. Because we're going up against the game, it's basically going to be, talk as we go. I mean, live commentary, largely on tonight's game, and I'll try to give you dribs and drabs of information and thoughts as things develop. So, for example, Garrett Crochet's on the mound in the first inning. I'll tell you how I think he looks, how the Yankees look, how they're approaching him, et cetera, et cetera. We'll go from there. But that comment from Alex Cora, I think this is at the core of why a lot of you are taking a no-lose type of stance as it relates to the Red Sox in this postseason series. And I disagree with you. I think the Red Sox can lose in this series. And I don't mean just lose 2 out of 3 to the Yankees. I mean they can lose and be blamed for it. Because I think they are capable of winning this series as constituted. Alex Cora said it right there, that they're a different team than many people expected. So, let alone the Devers trade. Casas got hurt. Roman Anthony got hurt. Now Lucas Giolito is out for what feels like the balance of the postseason. Alex Cora said as much in New York earlier today. Yesterday he said that Giolito had an injury. I'll just play the comment for you from today's press conference. This is Cora on Giolito.
Any update on Lucas Giolito? Where is he at now?
He's on his way back. Like I told the beat writers, I'm not 100% sure where we at, but for everything I'm hearing, there's no structural damage, which is great, right? There's a slim chance he can pitch, so kind of like rule him out probably. But I think from a personal standpoint, those are good news for him, right? Kind of like hard for, have surgery going into the offseason and all that. So hopefully that's right. I'll check with B and talk to him later. But that's the last I heard.
Okay. So Cora calls it a slim chance, but I'll call him out for the postseason. So what I think that really is that Giolito's gone. So before I go on any further, let me just say that I think because the Red Sox are the way they are, which is to say it's a platoon lineup, a piecemeal lineup. They don't have a star in the lineup. They're not hitting a ton of home runs. They are certainly a little banged up that a lot of people look at them and say they can't win. And if they win, it's gravy. I will tell you that this is a winnable series. And so is the next one if they play Toronto. After that, it could be Seattle. We'll see. I wouldn't make them a favorite. I might make him a favorite against Toronto. Against the Yankees, I will say that New York is a slight favorite because the games are in New York and their starting pitching is a little deeper than yours. But the Yankees are no great shakes either. They're throwing a rookie in Game 3 too. I just like their first 2 guys better than your 2 in tandem. Tonight, you have the best guy on the mound. So please don't sit there and say there's nothing at stake that you can't lose. If you say you can't lose, then that just means you don't want to deal with the hurt of the loss. The playoffs are about risk. That's what they're about. There's something at stake. Nick's in Westwood. Nick, what do you got?
Hey, what's going on, Mazz, my man? Hey, you got the local kid from Walpole, former Walpole Red Bull, Cam Schlittler. Is he penciled in as the number 3 for the Yanks or what?
Yes, he's pitching Game 3. Not the call I was expecting out of the gate. But yes, he's scheduled to pitch Game 3. Tim's in Wakefield. Tim, what do you got?
Hey, Mazz. I know you had some reservations about Aroldis Chapman coming into the season. It seems like he's had kind of a late career renaissance. What do you think's changed about his game? How has he become a better pitcher?
Tim, look, that's an easy one. It's the strike throwing. And apparently he worked on it during the offseason. So I know a lot of people want to give the Red Sox all the credit for this. But I think what happened is I think Chapman came to he walked 6 guys per 9 innings last year. And the year before, I think, was the same, and he didn't have a great market in the offseason. So I think he came to the realization, I got to refine this thing, and I got to figure out a way to get the ball in the strike zone. And to his credit, he did. I thought he was going to suck this year. I don't feel any shame in saying that because I wasn't alone. I think everyone thought he was a long shot, and they might even use him as a setup man. I think that was the plan at the beginning. He exceeded their expectations. He exceeded everyone's expectations. Now, that said, his last 4 or 5 outings haven't been as dominant as the ones before. It'd be difficult to match how dominant he was before that. But I do feel like he's not quite as sharp, and I will be watching closely if he gets the chance to close this out tonight. I feel more confident right now in Whitlock than I do in him. Greg's in Rhode Island. Greg, go ahead.
Hey, Tony. Thanks for taking the call. I've been pleasantly surprised with guys like Tolley and Connolly Early, and I think especially Connolly Early has provided a great spark to a pitching staff where the back end of the rotation has been kind of lackluster. What do you anticipate those two guys involvement-wise in the the wild card, and then moving forward if they were to continue?
Yeah, so I think you're going to see Tolley in the middle innings or early innings potentially come out of the bullpen. I don't think that's going to change. I think they see him as a once through the lineup kind of guy at most. He could come in, and in the case of a starter getting knocked from a game early on or something like that, he could get in there and, just air it out and get people out. I think that's going to be the extent of what he gives you. And I'm not telling you that's a small thing. That could be a big thing. But I don't think he's going to start. Connolly Early, to me, is the guy to watch with Giolito out. All indications are that if there is a Game 3, Connolly Early is going to pitch that third game. And honestly, I'm okay with it. I like Connolly Early's stuff. I like his makeup. He looks like he's calm on the mound. He's got enough velocity on his fastball. He's got tremendous control and command. He doesn't walk many guys, save for the first inning of the start he made in, I think that was Toronto, right? So, I'm okay, or it might have been the Tampa Bay series. I like Early. And frankly, with the way Giolito is headed, and I say this before knowing about the injury, I was leaning, in my mind, Early in Game 3. Not that they were going to do it, but if you're asking me my opinion, I'd have pitched Early over Giolito. Okay, and that sounds like revisionist thinking now, but that's what I would have done. Joe's in Medford. Joe, what do you got?
Hi, how are you? Thanks for taking the call. So you kind of just answered my question. I was going to wonder about the possibility of actually, how far you think we can actually go in the playoffs, and, if we go into Yankee Stadium and kick their butts and shut them up, would that be uplifting for everyone?
Oh, Joe, listen. Yeah, I think any postseason win, particularly if you think you're undermanned, is going to be viewed as a sort of boost to your overall morale, psyche, all that. There's no question it's going to be uplifting. Now, how far can they go? I would say certainly I think they can get to the LCS. Then who will they face when you get there? Let's see. If it's Seattle, I would like the Mariners in that series. The Mariners are tough. They're good. And it's not just all about Cal Raleigh. Their pitching is excellent. And their pitching top to bottom is excellent. You'd have your hands full if you played Seattle. Okay, your hands would be full. I'd pick Seattle in that series. The other two to me, because it would be New York, Toronto, will be closer to a coin flip. Even with the Blue Jays rested, you have a shot. Toronto's beatable. The Yankees are beatable. Those teams are not super teams. So you can beat those clubs. Just quickly, it's in the top of the first in New York. The Red Sox have a man on with 2 outs. Bregman just singled the right field. Mark is in Braintree. Mark, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm so angry with the Red Sox. In the winter, I almost put $20 on them to make the playoffs. I said, no, that's impossible. And I put $10 on them to not make the playoffs. Now these bums are in there. I hope they get swept.
Okay, so Mark, it doesn't sound like you wagered a whole hell of a lot on it. I certainly don't know your financial situation, so I shouldn't say that. But if you're going to hold it against them that you lost $10 because they made the playoffs, I'd say that that was probably worth the $10. Who doesn't want to watch playoff games? I certainly do. I'll take that every single time. Sean in Marlboro. Sean, go ahead.
Mazz, before you get jaded by the playoffs, can you just give me your opinion? The Sox were crushed by injuries. They brought a lot of young kids up. They had their first 15-game over-ish, over 500, got rid of Devers. Other than ownership not being committed to spending money, can you just tell me your honest opinion about the Sox, how they did, and your opinion going forward after this year?
Sean, yeah, look, I think they're in good position to make annual runs at this thing. It's now a lot of that's going to depend on how they plug some of their holes, but just look at it. And the first inning is now over. The Romy Gonzalez grounded out. Yankees are coming up in the bottom of the first. So the Red Sox did not score in the top of the inning. But in terms of the long-term prognosis for the club, I think you should be pretty happy with where they are. Now, look at it this way. Crochet's 25 and he's signed. Bayo is 25 and he's signed. Connolly Early just got here, and I think he should be and will be in your rotation next year. Peyton Tolley, my guess is that he's going to start the season in the minors. But here's what I'm getting at. Your nucleus of your pitching staff is young and under control for 5 or 6 years. So you're going to have all of that. Chapman's coming back. Whitlock's coming back. Slayton's coming back. So your pitching staff overall is in pretty good shape. Now you're going to need some help in the lineup. And you'll have a healthy Roman Anthony, presumably, for an entire season. Maybe you decide to trade Tristan Casas for something else, maybe a right-handed hitter. I don't know. Maybe you put Casas at first base. Hopefully, Bregman stays. But I think you're going to need to fortify the offense. They needed a right-handed hitter at the trade deadline. They didn't get it. And I'd like to think they're going to explore the market for a right-handed hitter to do it again. Danny in a car. Danny, what do you got?
October baseball. Hallelujah. I think that's about all I have. It's nice to turn on the television.
Okay, I think everyone feels that way, Danny, and I'm not dismissing you. But this is what you've missed for 4 years. And this is why, even though the Red Sox might not have been championship caliber in 2022, 23, and 24, you had a right to expect something better while they were getting back to being championship caliber. So Garrett Crochet has taken the mound here in the bottom of the first. I'm going to do this quickly. If you're on the line, sit tight. 617-779-0985. I'm going to give you, again, as I said here throughout the game, I'll give you my 2 cents on what's happening there. And certainly Crochet's first inning could tell us a lot. So don't go anywhere. 617-779-0985 on the Baseball Hour.
This is the Baseball.
Judge and these Yankees?
Because I think as he gets more reps in the postseason, he's bringing his heart rate down. Look, in my time covering baseball, Derek Jeter was the best postseason player, and it's because he treated the World Series and playoffs the same way he did the regular season. He kept his heart rate steady. There have been other superstars who've needed a lot of reps. Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Tino Martinez, Roger Clemens, and eventually they figured that out. And I think that's what we're going to see from Aaron Judge this October. I think he's going to go off. At the end of last year's World Series, he had 3 hits in his last 6 at-bats. He had that big home run off Emmanuel Class A. So I think he's headed for a big October. And look, today, so much fun because we have this great matchup between he and Garrett Crochet. You know, the Red Sox ace, who's going to finish first or second in the American League Cy Young Award voting, 255 strikeouts during the year. Aaron Judge has 15 at-bats against him in his career. He struck out 11 times, but he's also hit 2 home runs. And we saw in the last matchup between these two guys, September 14th, Judge kind of smiling and staring down Crochet on the mound a little bit, having fun with this matchup. This is, as someone said to me yesterday, Tyson versus Holyfield in terms of like 2 superstars going at it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Buster Olney, ESPN. I will add that Garrett Crochet and Aaron Judge have now had their first meeting of this postseason. Aaron Judge singled to left. There had been a previous single before that. The Yankees had first and second with nobody out in the bottom of the first inning. Crochet then got out of it. He struck out Bellinger and then got Stanton to hit into a double play to get out of the inning. They're now onto the top of the second in New York, and the game is scoreless. Now, let me give you a couple of observations about the first inning. Number one of which was made by Jimmy Stewart, our producer, because I didn't see it. Incredibly, the TVs were not on the game when we came in here for this show. I shouldn't say when we came in here. When we, for some reason, it ended up on Channel 5. I don't know how that happened, but the game started. I didn't see the first at bat. Rob Refsnyder, however, Jimmy did what?
Swung and grounded out on the first pitch thrown of the game, which is terrible. You can't have your leadoff hitter see one pitch to open up a playoff series. That's frustrating.
And I would tell you that is particularly important against a guy like Max Fried, who, again, if a lot of you may remember during the offseason, Fried was the guy I wanted on the free agent market. And honestly, I think it was the guy the Red Sox wanted on the free agent market. They went after him. They didn't want to give him a 7th year. The Yankees did. They got him. He's been terrific for them all year long. And the reason I like Fried is because if I had to compare him to a left-hander on the Red Sox staff, and I'm saying just stylistically, okay, I'm not telling you he's the same quality, but if you were to say to me, who's he more like, Garrett Crochet, or is he more like Connolly Early? I would tell you he's more like Connolly Early. He throws a bunch of different pitches. He throws them all for strikes. His fastball certainly has more juice, but not by much. And really what he is a pitcher. So with a guy like Fried, you really have to try to get him to work a little bit. He throws a crap ton of strikes. He doesn't walk many people. And the deeper you can get into a pitch count with him, the earlier you get him out of the game. And the Yankees bullpen is vulnerable. So I said this earlier on today. I'll repeat it for those of you who haven't heard it. I think the Yankees are going to have an edge in the earlier innings of these games. With the possible exception of tonight, you should be able to stay even with Crochet on the mound. But their starters are going to be a little bit better than yours. And as a result, they're going to have an advantage in the first 5 or 6 innings. After that, you should have the pitching advantage at the end. So if the Red Sox can just not lose these games, hang in there, and the first 5 or 6 innings, they have a chance to win them late. It will also allow Alex Cora to go to his bench and pinch hit. For example, tonight he went with a right-handed lineup, which means Yoshida, Nathaniel Lowe, and who am I leaving out? Wilyer Abreu are all on his bench right now. So that should help them, in theory, later in the game. Get back to your calls, and by all means, feel free to call in while the game's going on in real time. You can have the game on the TV, us on your radio, however you want to do it, but you want to dial in and check in with us about what's going on the field, we're happy to do that. I do have another observation about Crochet that I'll get to in a moment. Matt's in a car. Matt, what do you got?
Hey, Tony, good to talk to you. Just like that guy that called before the break, no one's more excited about October baseball than me or him or whoever it was. But see, the thing is, we're not talking about the matchups or anything like that. And I want to ask you a question. When you were back on the beat, I remember Theo would leave no stone unturned. I don't know if the years are correct, but I remember you had Embry, who was a lefty specialist, and he went out and got Sauerbeck or somebody like that, just to beef up, just to be prepared. And now we're not even sure who our Game 3 starter is. I'll take your response off the radio.
Yeah, so Matt, look, remember too that the objectives of those teams have changed a little bit. Up until this year, the Red Sox hadn't made the playoffs in 3 years. They're trying to rebuild this thing and get to a point of respectability. The years you're talking about, they were looking world championship or bust. So when Theo had an Embry, I wouldn't call Embry a lefty specialist, but nonetheless, he was left-handed. He could get lefties and righty. He had a power fastball, and he was fearless. So Sauerbeck was more of a specialist, but your general observation is right. That Epstein said, okay, if we lose someone, I'll go get another guy who can at least get lefties. And he stacked the team is what he did so that they had every base covered. They're not there yet. I hope that they build something like that going forward. Because overall, as I said earlier to a prior caller, they're in good shape for the future. They have Anthony. They have, in theory, Marcelo Meyer and Christian Campbell. We'll see how they do. Casas is coming back. Abreu's coming back. More importantly, the pitching staff, Crochet, Bayo, Early, Tolley, are all going to be under team control for the next 5 or 6 years at a minimum. And your bullpen, Whitlock is under contract. Chapman is under contract. Slayton is under contract. So if I were to tell you the 6 or 7 or 8 best pitchers on the staff in terms of bullpen and rotation, all signed. So you're in good shape with some strategic additions in areas of need. The middle of the lineup, particularly from the right side. You can build yourself a championship caliber team this offseason. My hope is that they have an aggressive offseason and that they show up for spring training next year, and we're talking about World Series. Anything less than you should be disappointed. Because with the play of Anthony here early in the year, I don't think that's a big piece. That's a very big piece. And so you should be thinking championship next spring, depending on what they do during the offseason. Dan's at home. Dan, what do you got?
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to call and say that I feel like you guys gave them way less faith than they deserve, especially for the first 2 teams in the series. Like, I think the Yankees, we definitely have the ability to close them out. I think that we can definitely make it on to later, especially in the World Series. I think that we could do way better against the Mariners than you think, especially with our closers. And we have a young team. Like, as you saw, I don't think any team could really put out the Sox, even clinching the playoffs, like Rafi walking it off. I don't know. I think we have way more possibilities of doing well than you guys are giving them.
Okay, so Dan, I said earlier, and I don't know, whether you're accusing us or anything, or you just weren't listening that closely. I told you they can win the first 2 series. Now, again, if you want to get on me for saying that I think the Mariners are better, well, then I guess that makes me an a-hole for thinking that the team that would be waiting for them potentially in the American League Championship is better than they are. But that doesn't mean they can't win it. I'm just telling you I'd pick the Mariners in that series. And the Mariners, by the way, are favored to win in the American League by just about every odds maker out there. So Seattle has a good team. They're better than you on paper. Now, you get Roman Anthony back, and you want to tell me Giolito comes back and pitches, and I'm not holding my breath on either one of those, then we can reassess. But as of right now, you can win the first 2 rounds. That is an absolute truth. It doesn't mean that they're favored. It just means that they're not overwhelming underdogs. I do have an observation I want to give you about Garrett Crochet, but why don't we do this? We're at the bottom of the hour. Kevin Majori will get you caught up on headlines. Game is now on the bottom of the second. The Red Sox, again, went down quickly in the top of the second. They didn't really make Max Fried work very much. Jimmy, do you have a pitch total on Max Fried by any chance through 2 innings? My guess is he's under 20 or right around. He's certainly under 30. I'll say that for sure. And 15 per inning is always a good.
21 pitches.
Okay, I was going to say, I know it's low. That is way too low. Way too low. They got to have at least better at-bats against Max Fried and try to stretch him out a little bit and make him work. At this rate, he's going to throw 90 pitches and pitch a complete game. Crochet has, I think that is now 2 outs in the bottom of the second. Bases are empty. Kevin Majori's got your headlines. We'll be right back on the Baseball Hour.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
As Mazz just said, Red Sox, Yankees, they're underway at Yankee Stadium, bottom of the second, 2 outs. Other wild card scores today.
So now in the top of the third in New York, Yankees have a 1-0 lead. Anthony Volpe with a solo home run against Garrett Crochet. I believe it was on a 2-2 pitch with 2 outs and the bases empty. And I want to mention this. It was a fastball, which brings me to another point that I'll mention here momentarily. It was a 97-mile-an-hour fastball that Volpe lined into the right field seats in New York. And this is the danger of playing these games in New York. Okay, the Yankees are built to hit home runs. Anything in the air to right field in New York is going to be a homer. The ball traveled 382 feet. The bullpens at Fenway Park are 380. Now, you're going to have to give me the particulars. Does 382 means it would have hit the ground at 382? Would it have hit the wall at Fenway Park? Would it have bounced on the warning track and hit the wall, etc.? I don't know. But here's what I will tell you. The Red Sox had an opportunity to play these 3 games in Boston. They had a lead in the wild card race after they left New York and took 3 out of 4. It was in their hands, and they lost it. So the fact that the games are in New York, I'm not going to say it's your fault, but you had a chance. There's a reason why it would have been beneficial to win that top wildcard spot. By slumping the way they did in the middle of the month, it forced them to play this game and this series on the road. Now, it's early. Crochet opened this game throwing soft stuff, and I say soft for him. His first 2 hits were given up on a sweeper and a cutter. Not that a cutter is necessarily soft, but the guy throws 98. Establish your fastball and attack. After he gave up the 2 hits, he got more aggressive and got out of the inning. So I just don't like the dinking around with the cutter and the sweeper when you throw 98. It's October. It's cooler. The ball's not going to carry unless you leave it out over the plate and someone can take it into the right field seats at Yankee Stadium, which is what Volpe did. One other thing. Through 2 innings, Max Fried had thrown just 21 pitches. Crochet had only thrown 29, which is good, but I would say that is a more conventional 15 per inning is sort of a number that you go by. Okay, so 21 is not enough for Fried if the Red Sox want to get him out of this game, although Nick Sogard did just get the Red Sox first hit. They have a man on first with 1 out in the third. We'll get back to your calls, and Dean's in Shrewsbury. Dean, what do you got?
I think the Red Sox have a chance to win the World Series, a better chance than most people think. The Yankees have the best run differential in baseball, and the AL East is the toughest division in baseball, so the Yankees' run differential is even more impressive. And the Red Sox have owned them all year long. So if they can take down the Yankees, I don't see why they couldn't take down the Mariners and possibly the Dodgers or the Brewers in the World Series. So I do think they have an outside shot. And it sounds like you think they have an outside shot too. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, so, Dean, here's what I will tell you that, and I'm going by what we've seen of the Red Sox, and I know, look, the run differential stat certainly has some value, okay? I'm not telling you it doesn't have value, but I'm not surprised that the Yankees have a big run differential. They hit a crap ton of home runs. So when they beat you up badly. They hammer you pretty hard. And when they lose, their pitching's good. Their starting pitching especially is good. So they're not going to get smoked a lot, and the run differential is going to be high. In the same breath, I would tell you that I think fundamentally they're a very flawed team. So if you can hang in the game with the Yankees, they'll do something stupid to lose it. Of course, the Red Sox can also do stupid things to lose these games, but nonetheless, you get the idea. The reason I picked Seattle, and I wouldn't give the Red Sox the edge over the Dodgers. The Dodgers just have more talent. And the Dodgers, to me, are one of those teams that knew what they had to do to get into the postseason. And then you could see them now play their best baseball of the year because it matters. So I just think they are so stacked and so deep that they're going to be hard to beat. The Yankees of the late 90s were like this. They had won 2 or 3, let's see, they won in 96, they won 98, 99. In 2000, I want to say the Yankees won something like 88 games, 87 games. But then they got in the playoffs and just rolled right through people because they had won so much and played so much that the regular season didn't mean as much to them. Let's go to Sean in Salem on the road for the Red Sox. Go ahead, Sean.
I got you. Yeah, going back to that Sunday night game in New York where they pitched Dustin May. Let's not forget the Yankees were on the ropes. They then went on to win like 8 in a row. So that was a big swing game, and you did call it at the time. But, here we are on the road, and I guess the only advantage you got is the fact that your bullpen's the strongest part. You're going to get an extra at-bat, meaning like when the 7th inning rolls around, you'll have 7 at-bats to the Yankees 6. You know what I mean? And so you can set up the bullpen that way. But tonight's a big one. No team, they're 12. The team that wins game 1's 12-0, and so you got to get something going here tonight.
Okay, so Sean, you say, and that is under the new format. The team that wins game 1 in this series has won all 12 of them.
12-0, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So now look again. I would say in this case, it's especially important because you have Crochet going. So now look, Bayo has been good against the Yankees, and I know fans don't necessarily feel the same level of confidence with him. Right now, it feels like Max Fried is kind of schooling you. They've gone to the middle. They've broken here for the middle of the third, is what I should say. The Red Sox got a single from Nick Sogard, who then advanced to second on a fly ball to center field, a deep fly by Rob Refsnyder. But Trevor Story struck out to end the inning. So the Red Sox stranded a man in scoring position. Surprise, surprise. As if that hasn't happened all year. Story's another one to watch. He had a great regular season. Defensively down the stretch, he faltered. And now it's nut cutting time. So he doesn't have a lot of postseason experience, and I think Trevor Story is, I don't want to say an easy guy to pitch to, but let me put it to you this way. If I'm the Yankees, Trevor Story doesn't scare me. I think I can pitch to him. And the guys I would worry about in this lineup, if I'm the Yankees, are certainly I would worry about Bregman. With Fried on the mound and Rodon tomorrow night, both of whom are left-handed, I'd be a little careful with Romy Gonzalez. Not much else.
Tony, Alex Cora agrees with you, and that's why Story's batting second tonight. Bregman to protect Story and hopefully get Story better pitches to hit. Cora agrees with you.
So I just think Story is an easy guy to get. If I think Story's going to have a hard time hitting good pitching, and I think that good pitching takes games over in October. Anyway, we're now in the bottom of the third. Crochet back on the mound, just threw his first pitch. Let's take a couple of more calls here. Paul's in Westboro. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Mazz, I got a question for you. I haven't seen this lineup. I've been watching since July. I kind of jumped on the bandwagon. Refsnyder leading off, Yoshida out of the lineup. I don't care that he got a lefty. Yoshida's been getting 2 hits a game for the last 2 weeks. I just don't get this lineup that he's going with.
Yeah, Paul, it's a legitimate second guess. And I'm a little surprised that one of the 2 lefties, Yoshida or Abreu, is not in the lineup. I would have thought that one of those 2 guys would be in there. If for no other reason that, as you said, Yoshida's been hot and Abreu's got power. So Max Fried makes a mistake and Abreu hits one into the right field seats. Again, short porch in Yankee Stadium. I'll take the chance. I will say that Cora's obviously... Now, look, let's see how it shakes out by playing it the way they played it. Because Refsnyder and Gonzalez have played routinely against left-handed pitching all year long. The real question comes in Nick Sogard and Nate Eaton, both of whom are in the lineup tonight. Those are the ones you're going to look at and say, why does Cora have those guys in the game? So, Jimmy, who's at second? Is Sogard at second and Eaton's in right field?
Yes.
Okay. So, Sogard at second base turned a double play. It was pretty routine. Eaton in right field in New York should be fine because it's such a tiny area.
Sogard is an above-average defender.
Yeah, Sogard, I think Cora's playing defense early. I'm going to try to keep the game close. And I'm not telling you, it's a fair second guess. I think it could go either way. I'd have had either Abreu or Yoshida in this lineup for this game because I want, he went with 7 righties, 7 right-handed batters. I'd have gone with 6 just because both of those guys could run into one in New York and hit one into the seats. So, but when you get into the later innings, he will now have, and I mentioned this earlier, Nathaniel Lowe, Yoshida, and Abreu on his bench. And we all know with the 3-batter minimum, he can pick a spot and get a couple of hacks at somebody to get hit a ball into the seats in New York in the late innings. So it may be that Cora's got that right. Let's see. It's going to depend on Crochet keeping this at something no worse than a 1-0, 2-0 game going into the 7th. Right now, the Red Sox are down 1-0. George and Malden. George, what do you got?
Hi. The Yankees in Yankee Stadium, they always hit home runs to the right field stands. Even the right-handed batters. If you pitch an outside pitch to them, they're going to aim for the right field stands. If they hit it up in the air, it's a home run. You got to pitch inside to the Yankees, inside with 2 strikes.
George, I agree with you. I need to go back and watch the replay.
1-2 pitch up and away, Tony. That's the home run that Crochet gave up.
So, Jimmy, I think it was 2-2. Double check it. What I don't know, though, is where Narvaez was set up. So it could have been a mistake. In other words, if Narvaez was set up inside and Crochet made a mistake, that would explain why or what. They may have been trying to go inside. And my answer also would be, then go inside. Don't miss. You get to these games, you can't miss. That's the challenge for pitchers. You can't miss. You got to hit the spot, and you can't miss at the big moments. You get a guy with 2 strikes, it's got to be up at a minimum, and it's got to be in. It can be no worse than the middle of the plate if it's up. If it's away, he can get it, and Volpe did. And it wasn't quite high enough. I want to say it was at the top of the strike zone. I know 2-2, you don't want to go to 3-2, but you don't want to give up a home run there, and you certainly don't want to give one up to right field.
And the pitch sequence was 4 in the upper, towards the left-hander's batter's box. So 4 pitches up and away to Volpe.
Okay, interesting. Again, I want to see where the catcher was set up, because to me, look, sometimes a guy has trouble getting the ball inside. There are nights where you're just not finishing the delivery and you're leaving the ball up and out over the plate to right-handed batters. We'll take another quick break here. Aaron Judge just stepped into the batter's box. Man on first, 2 outs. Red Sox down 1-0 in the 3rd. In the top of the fourth now in New York. Alex Bregman just struck out. Change up. Max Fried threw a curveball, what looked like a slider, and then a change. 3 consecutive pitches to strike out Bregman. It was a 4-pitch at bat, I think, so it wasn't a three-pitch strikeout. But Fried is a freaking surgeon. I love this guy. I was right. That's why I'm telling you. I was right. I told you they should have got this guy. They're freaking picking him apart, carving him up. Not that should surprise you. The Red Sox had a better second inning, by the way. They made Fried work a little more. He threw 16 pitches. But overall, just not enough solid contact yet for the Red Sox. Sogard had really the one good hit. Romy Gonzalez also just grounded out to third. Now 2 outs in the fourth. The Yankees have had the majority of the hard hit balls. A couple of hard hit singles in the first inning. The home run by Volpe. Ref Snyder made good contact on a deep fly to center field. But overall, the pitchers have had control of this game, and that should not surprise you. I mean, this is the kind of game it was going to be. I think that Cora anticipated that with his lineup decision, or at least I'm assuming that was his logic for going with Sogard and Nate Eaton in the lineup and keeping Abreu and Yoshida on the bench, where maybe they could come in and pinch hit in the later innings. If it stays 1-0 into the 6th or 7th, you're in okay shape. The Yankees have the advantage in the early part of these games. I really believe that. And the home run that Crochet gave up, I'm going to guess was a mistake. Again, if someone has seen where the catcher was set up on that home run, I'd love to know. My guess is that Crochet was supposed to go very high or very in or both, and left the ball at about letter high outside edge of the plate, and Anthony Volpe put it in the right field seats. So that's the only run of the game so far. The Yankees did have 2 men on in the first inning, but Giancarlo Stanton hit into a double play to end that. There was one other thing I wanted to mention, that the first 3 innings, first pitch I believe was at 6:08. The first 3 innings were played in 45 minutes. So you remember back in 03, 04, 3.5, 4 hour, 5 hour games between the Red Sox and the Yankees? This one tonight, based on the first 3 innings, was on pace for 2 hours and 15 minutes. And if I'm not mistaken, the commercial breaks in the postseason are 30 seconds longer than they are in the regular season. So it's another thing to consider.
So, Mazz, Narvaez's glove was facing down towards his left knee on the home run to Volpe.
So he wanted it down and in.
And Crochet missed high and away.
Okay, so he missed the spot. It's a bad pitch, is what it is. He missed the spot. It was a mistake. The Red Sox have drawn a 2-out walk here in the fourth. So now have a man on. Who was that who just walked, Jimmy? Any idea? Was that Nate? No, that's Narvaez. Narvaez just walked with 2 outs in the fourth. Kevin Majori's got your headlines here. Oh, I should mention, I neglected to do this earlier. My apologies that October baseball is here, and golf is proud to be fueling the road to another title for the Red Sox. Download the Golf Pay app and enjoy 5 cents off per gallon and other exclusive offers. Plus, enjoy a fast and convenient way to pay. Golf, it all starts here. See the app for details. MasterCard accepted. Again, Kevin Majori's got your headlines. We will obviously have plenty to talk about tomorrow on Felger and Mazz and on the Baseball Hour. Everyone have a good night.
From the Telfair Tire Studios, WBZ FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Mazz.